Hey guys, Asher coming at you today in Watcher of Realms. Welcome to the video. Glad to have you all here today. Today, the ultimate guide for Watcher of Realms Artifact Material Raid. That's right, we got you covered here. I see the comments asking for help on Artifact Material Raid. Hey, one thing before we jump into it here, obviously, what are we getting out of Artifact Material Raid? Well, we're getting artifacts and we're getting, you guessed it, material to upgrade said artifacts, right? So it's really important that in the early game, I don't know why, but I didn't do my arena battles that often. I really neglected arena in this game, and now I prioritize arena. One of the main reasons is actually mithril, right? I mean, you get a lot of artifacts, which is great, but I feel like I'm always just up against it in terms of my mithril supply to upgrade said artifacts, right? So, or promote said artifacts. I'm always using and buying mithril in the arena shop, so do not neglect your arena battles, guys. They'll definitely add up and you'll be able to upgrade the artifacts a lot easier if you use some of your arena coins. I'm not saying go out there and blow everything on them. Obviously, rare summons, stamina, epic skill crystals, all that stuff is good, right? All this stuff is good. But when you don't know what to do, use your arena battles and get some mithril and upgrade your artifacts that way as well. Now, as I mentioned, we can obviously get artifacts through Artifact Material Raid. Go figure, right? And we can also, with these artifacts, we can go to the Forge here. We can go to the Mythic Forge and we can just look at all these Mythic whatever the heck. So what are they called? Flawless Meteorites that I'm sitting on right now. I just need to sell some artifacts. And that brings me to my next point is, of course, you can sell your artifacts. I think in the early game, you can just start selling your epics, obviously your lower rarities. You know, dupe artifacts are good because you're going to use them to, you know, enhance or promote, excuse me, the artifacts that you do have, right? So I would not get rid of, you know, at least the first dupe on most decent artifacts. And there's a lot of artifact tier lists out there. If you guys want one, I'm happy to make one as well, but I figure that's a whole nother video to talk about every single artifact in the game. But don't be afraid to sell them. Otherwise, you're going to be like me and you're just going to be super cluttered. You can see right now, right? For example, I have a lot of legendaries, which I should be aiming for where I am right now on basically just the mythicals, right? But I have a lot of legendaries. I have a lot of legendary dupes that I'm going to need to go in, excuse me, and sell. Anyway, guys, I digress. Let's talk about how to actually beat the raid, the dungeon, right? So Artifact Material Raid is very intensive when it comes to fighters, when it comes to defenders, right? You only have on these more challenging stages, and I'm going to show you stage 18 using my main team, and then I'm going to show you, you know, probably 17. I'm going to try to beat it with all epics, right? To be honest with you, I wanted to do it all epics on 18, and I kind of struggled preparing for today's video. So I'm going to do it the way that I did it. And then I'm going to take you to an all epic team and just try to show you different strategy and different heroes to use in other difficulties as well. I did turn off the power of dominance. So when we look at the map right here, obviously the boss is going to make his way over here. He's going to be tanked right over here. We want a nice, robust, tanky unit with a good shield, aka Olog, right? Right over here. You don't have to use him though. I'm not going to use any like OP lords. I purposely took out a Toreador and a King Hars, but they shine here as well. King Hars because he's going to add the shield to everybody, and Toreador because he's a lord for, you know, arguably the best faction for Artifact Material Raid, which is Nightmare. The Lord of the Grand Necropolis, the big fella. He has a lot of magic resistance. It's not that big of a deal. I'm actually in front of him right now. It's not a big deal. What you can do with this platform though is you can start out with a Cuke. I'm going to start out with a Cuke. We can do around 10% worth of damage if we're using Olog as a tank just on his shield. Same thing with Baron, just as unkillable and his shield on his ultimate. We can do about 10% of damage with a Cuke on the platform and then sub them out for a healer. Now this is going to be very advantageous because this battle is a DPS race. These spawns just start to pick up and pick up and pick up over time, and if you take too long, there is no such thing as a sustain team in Artifact Material Raid because the spawns are going to start coming from the top and there's no way to kill them when they start coming from the top. You basically lost, or you need to beat the boss within like 5-10 seconds when they start spawning from the top. So the idea here is do do as much damage as humanly possible as quickly as possible. Now for earlier stages, guys, well, the real early stages, I'm not going to go through. You guys should be able to clear stage 11 just simply by progressing through the game, you know, upgrading your heroes, getting a little bit of good gear, you know, building your heroes the right way. And we have guides on all that stuff. But for stage 13 and beyond, that's when we're dealing with the one platform. And that's what I want today's video to be focused on. Other things we want to notate here. We're going to get spawns that come from the top, the northeast and the northwest corner. Okay, those spawns are going to get super powerful when they cross this threshold. So we want a strategy for dealing with them. We can use a self-sustained fighter like an Abomination or a Wrath, but better yet, if you have them, we want to use, let's see the popular heroes. We want to use a fighter that has long range, and we can face them facing down, facing south in this corner. They're going to kill the ads, and they're also going to help DPS down the ads from these corners, right? The southeast and the southwest. So if we look at options here, we have Arrogance, we have, let's see, Ardia, we have Valkyra, we have Falcia, we have a lot of options, right? In terms of those range units. Arrogance, oh, we already saw Zilithu, right? So there are probably like 5 or so, maybe 6 good range fighter options, which are ideal. So anyway, let me show you the team and how it all works here. Again, I subbed out a few of my legendaries. Constance is not required. Frankly, none of these champions or these heroes, excuse me, are required. But you're gonna need some, right? You're gonna need to build fighters and defenders for this dungeon. All right, let's just stop talking about it and let's start doing it, Ash. Come on, bro. All right, I want to slow things down right off the bat. Now with Cuke, there's a little RNG here. If you have him skilled up, which you shouldn't skill this dude up. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say you couldn't, but like he has a trap. And if his trap is over here, we have to restart the run. If he puts his trap to the south, we can keep the run going. Anyway, we can pre-place our defenders here, all of our starting units, right? So I'm gonna use Ardia as a DPS in this position, even though she has the range where she could cover the top right or the top left. Now, if I didn't have Ardia, no big deal. Who I would use is a Valeria, excuse me, if I had her, if you have her, right? If not, then I would use Wrath in this position. So those would be like my top choices for this position. And this is gonna be like the boss DPS position number 1, okay? So boss DPS, right now we're gonna use Cuke to DPS the boss down to around 90% HP. Then we gotta get our healer in there, right? We don't have all day here, but as I said, it's look at that trap. Look at that trap. Come on, man. I'm going to keep it on. Hopefully, I was hoping it would just work out. It's a 50-50 here. It's either going to be right over here or right over here. Let's see where it is right now. Of course, as fate would have it, he's gonna do it again. Cuke, stop ruining my video, man. All right, Cuke, don't let us down, buddy. We're gonna go ahead and place Olog next. I'm playing Cuke until we get the boss to around 90% HP, okay? Now, Ardia, we could, I mean, you might be tempted to use her over here. That way she can help cover one of these sides. But we actually, in this case at least, how we're going to be using her today, we want to go ahead and use Ardia to DPS down the boss, okay? So around 90% HP, Cuke's pretty much done his job. Or actually, you can look at Olog's ultimate, right? When he gets to around 90% right there, it's time to get your healer in. Vortex. We're going to pop his ult right away. And now everybody's kind of in position here. Let me slow things down. Big damage coming in. Vortex has got everybody nice and healed, right? Everything's looking fine. So what we're going to do now, you can see Abomination's really special. He's able to handle, as a fighter, handle one of these sides by himself, okay? On the right, we're going to go ahead and use Baron. Now, the thing about Baron is look at Vortex's range here, guys, right? This position right here is going to be out of Vortex's range. This position is in Vortex's range. Now, that being said, in this battle, we're going to put Baron on the outside, okay? Reason being is because Baron on the outside, he has a lot of, he has a shield on his ultimate. He has unkillable as well. And if we have to, worst case scenario, we can sub him out for Constance, okay? Now we're gonna start worrying about the top left and the top right, okay? So let's go, actually, you know what? I lied. Let's put Wrath down first. Usually you wanna start worrying about the top left and the top right when they start spawning, right? So they just started spawning. The left is always gonna come first. So we're gonna play Valkyra in the left. Doesn't really matter. Usually I like pairing my fighter who's a little bit stronger in terms of DPS. I like using, ooh, a little bit late on Vortex's ultimate, but it worked out. I like putting my fighter who's maybe a little bit less DPS focused on the side with my strongest DPS on the bottom, right? So Abomination is certainly better DPS than Baron is, so we're putting our weaker or DPS on the stronger side. Does that make sense to you guys? Now we got to worry about the top right, okay? So we're going to use Arrogance, who's my stronger DPS, with Baron, who's my weaker DPS down here. You'll see that one dude did break through. That's going to happen from time to time. And you can see the timing on ultimates is not super important here, but we're DPSing down this boss pretty good. I can actually fast forward here, because from here on out, we're good. The only thing we might have to do is Baron, sub out Baron here, right? We're at 22%. It's not over yet. I'm keeping my eye on Baron. Keep in mind, he does have unkillable too, so it's not like when his health goes down to 0, we're going to be screwed. But I am going to go ahead and pop him on his next engagement, if you will, like right now, because he's going to get a shield right there. If you have him at Awaken 5, we're going to pop right over there. We're going to pop the ultimate, keep Ardia, our DPS, alive, and you can see at this point, we can go double speed. It's over. Okay, so that's the fight. If we lost Baron, I simply would have subbed in Constance right there, or whoever like my sub tank is going to be. So there it is. That is basically, hopefully I was able to describe everything going on the map and how we're using Cuke out the gate and stuff like that. Let me go ahead and show you maybe a little bit more of a realistic team on stage 17. Be right back. All right, guys, so stage 17, Power of Dominance is off. It's my all epic team with one legendary. It doesn't matter who I choose. I just don't have any more epic tanks on my account at all, right? So I got nothing. I need somebody, another fighter or a defender, anything. I don't have him, so I threw Brokir in there, only because he has my least impressive gear out of like King Hars and Torador and all the other heroes that we just used. So you can use anybody that you got in that spot here, guys. It's not going to be super important. Our strategy is going to change a little bit on this level because, well, we don't have Ardia, we don't have Valeria, we don't have our crazy DPS to do all that damage. So we're gonna go ahead and use let's use Wrath, right? We're gonna use Wrath as our main DPS here instead, okay? And Wrath, by the way, is a great DPS. We don't want that trap over there, so we'll restart it. Cuke's gonna do the heavy lifting in terms of damage there on this squad though. So we're gonna leave Cuke out a lot longer, and it doesn't have to be Cuke, by the way, right? Like Cuke is easy, he's a rare, but if you have like a Hex or any good DPS, a Hatsuit, whatever, probably be even better in that platform role. So we're actually gonna leave this position open, I think, here. I'm trying to think of who's gonna go where. You know what? Let's put Vladov in. Let's go triple DPS and just see. I haven't tried yet, so let's just see how this team does. We might fail, we might not. We're gonna leave Cuke out there a while. Abomination, you did such a hell of a job last time in this role. We're gonna go ahead and keep you in this role. Vladov looks like he's gonna die any second. Let's pop his ultimate, get some extra damage in there, and then it'll probably be bye-bye. Let's go ahead and put Baron here on the side. We're not gonna have a healer, so we don't have to worry about him being in healing range or anything like that. Vladov, if he's gonna die, which he is, we might as well take him out and recoup the cost right before the boss goes into his AoE attack. Before then, we have nothing to worry about, right? So now let's start thinking about the corners. Now we're gonna change our strategy a little bit in the corners, right? All I have left is 2 defenders. I have Brokir and I have Titus. I have Scorch, but he's level 50. So I just want a big body here, or 2, right? I just want to buy time. I'm gonna pull Vladov out right now, as much as it pains me. Olog, I'm getting a little bit worried about too, honestly. He's sustaining without any heals right now. I'm going to put Titus over here. I have Brokir over here. Again, it's really just a DPS race here, guys, right? I know these guys are not going to be able to kill everybody, but it's really waiting for Wrath and Cuke to kill the boss, right? Whatever comes first. We're at 8%. And we're looking really good. And again, Brokir is not instrumental to this team at all, guys. I wish I had another epics just so I could say there's no legendaries, but it's really just a body is all we need there, a body, right? So guys, hopefully you found this video useful. This is how I tackle artifact material raid. You guys are not gonna regret putting a lot of time into this this dungeon, this raid, because it's so important to get the stats and the awesome bonuses from artifacts and all the materials as well. Guys, let me just show you the final stats here. Cuke, putting out almost half the damage of the entire team in Wrath after that. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care.